What is going on, my Masketeers? Welcome back to another episode, and we are here to talk about Marvel's She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, now streaming on Disneyplus. The premise is very simple. We follow Jennifer Walters, who is the cousin of Bruce Banner, and she is a lawyer and an attorney, and through an accident, she happens to get some of Bruce's blood into her system. They're involved in a car crash because Shitari's ship somehow appeared in the road. The car flips over. She's hurt, so is Bruce. She pulls Bruce out of the car, and then he bleeds into her open wound, and then she automatically becomes the She-Hulk. And so we are now following her as she learns to adjust and come to terms with her new reality, so to speak, as the She-Hulk, but also still wanting to keep her old life. And the show is gonna follow as she goes on that journey. So let's get into the good of the show. Let me not lie to you, there's not that much good in this show. Let me not even lie to you. There's nothing really good about this show. Because the show starts with Jennifer essentially like breaking like the fourth wall and talking to the audience. And again, that's something that she has done in the comic books, and she's well known for that. Her and Deadpool have the same kind of take and comedic wit. Not exactly the same, but when I mean the same, in reference to them being able to break the fourth wall, right? So she basically does that. She tells us, oh, I'm going to show you my origin and how we got to this point. And then we basically get the backstory of everything. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I honestly cannot say that I can find anything good really and truly about the show. I would say that I do like the actress who's playing She-Hulk. I think she's cool. I think like she's charismatic. She has like some charm and some wit to her. And I do actually like the She-Hulk persona and the She-Hulk character. I feel like as a hero, or she's not really a hero yet, but her character or her characterization to me is quite good. Like, there's nothing really wrong with it. She is witty, she's funny, I guess, in a sense, and she's just good vibe. That's one thing I'll give her. I'll say like she's good vibes. But just in terms of anything and everything else, nah, not so much. Like, not so much. And that's really it for the good. Let's get into the bad. Oh, there's so much. There's so much bad, yeah. I'll just say this right now. The CGI did not get better. Everybody else's CGI works. When I say everybody else, I mean Bruce, aka the Hulk CGI is good. Jennifer's not. No. Whenever she is moving, it's not good. Like, when you see her for long periods of time, it ain't it. Like, if they have her like in a still frame, cool. If you have like a wide angle, okay. But whenever she's in motion and whenever she's actually moving, you realize like, nah, something's off. And again, I know that some people have said that because Hulk has got so many years of renders and so many movies to reference from, it's much easier to generate the Hulk and have him look more human because there's much more to go off and they've got much more information, references throughout the years. Cool. But at the same time, no. Because again, I get that the Hulk looks better to render because he have more references. That doesn't actually translate into why whenever Jennifer's moving, when She-Hulk moves, it looks fake. She doesn't look like she's there. When Hulk is moving, he looks fine, he looks cool. But whenever She-Hulk is moving, she literally looks like a CGI character. I feel like the best times is when she's still, or like she's sitting down and like she's got very little facial movements happening. That's where I think it's cool. And yeah, now another thing I really didn't like, I didn't like the characterization in terms of how She-Hulk is just better than Hulk essentially. In terms of how she's able to master everything and how she's able to come into terms with her abilities and her powers. Now, don't get me wrong, Hulk and She-Hulk have always been different because their personalities is different. Hulk is somebody where he suffers from split personality disorder based off his abuse as a child. And so the Hulk's are different manifestations of his trauma, whereas Jennifer doesn't have that. So her being able to be in touch with her own person and it only being Jennifer, that's fine. That makes sense. But when it came to everything else where they just tried to make her better than Hulk, that's where I had a problem with. Because in the comics, Jennifer has a better understanding and a better connection with herself, yes. But when it comes to her power and her power levels, she's not on Hulk's power level. The reason being is because Hulk gets stronger the angrier he becomes, but his anger and his rage is tied to his trauma. Jennifer doesn't have that. She doesn't have the trauma. So she doesn't get angry the same way and it doesn't increase her power. She has like a constant power level where it's just there. But in this show, they've tried to make it look like, nah, even then, her power level is still the same as Hulk, which I didn't like. And even when they tried to go down again, like like I don't know, like the SJW, like that whole route of, women are good, men are bad, that whole kind of avenue, which has been very much in the forefront when it comes to these superhero and fantasy male-based genres, which now like they're trying to tear down. It's like Bruce is trying to tell Jen that she has to control her anger, and she responds by saying like, no, actually, I literally have to control my anger every day, and I do it better than you because as a woman, I can't get angry because they'll label me as emotional or aggressive. And so when somebody catcalls me, I have to keep my cool and all of this stuff. And again, I understand what they were trying to do, but here's why for me that doesn't work. The problem being is because Bruce is literally a child of trauma. That's what he is. Like, Bruce is a child of trauma. He literally came from an abusive household. He saw his mother get beat to death. He saw his father do it. And his father used to abuse him, both physically and mentally. So there's so much trauma that Bruce carries, and there's so much rage that Bruce carries that he constantly has to control that. That's the reason why he just doesn't hulk out every damn time. He literally has to keep those walls up. And that's a lot of emotional damage, a lot of emotional scarring that Bruce has gone through. And he tries every day to maintain the walls. So for Jen to come and just, say, oh, I handle my rage, or like I feel more rage than you because of these things, to me, it's like a slap in the face of somebody like Bruce that has gone through traumatic experiences and it has shaped who he is. And it's a part of his character. But again, they've just diminished it just to, push, quote unquote, the message. And the message is just weak. It's just weak in that sense. And so for me, I wasn't really too much a fan of that. Another thing which I wasn't too much a fan of, just in general, like, I don't really know where the show is going, and I don't really know where it fits into everything. They've called it a comedy, and again, maybe as more episodes come out, it will be much more comical, or it might go in a whole different direction. And that's just got me scared, because Daredevil's supposed to be in this. So if this is a comedy, I don't want to see my Daredevil in a comedic space, because that's not his character. And so I feel like that will kind of make me a little bit sad if they turn Matt Murdock into a joke as well. But we'll see how it goes. And that's really it. Like, that's really it. So for episode 1, my verdict, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I wasn't really impressed, and I thought it was quite short as well. I thought it was going to be at least like an hour long, but it's not. I think it may have been like under 45 minutes, which I was really surprised about. But yeah, I just felt like it was lackluster. I feel that this is where the MCU is now. And like I said before, my MCU is dead. And it's not even a case of where, you're hating on the new stuff because it's not good. Literally, it's just a former show of itself. Everything has now become a comedy. Like, nothing holds any weight anymore. And I don't like the fact that in order for them to kind of make way for the new, they're trying to tear down the old, where it should be a case of where you honor the what came before, but now you move forward and we go to newer heights. But it just feels like they have nowhere else to go, so they have to dismantle what came before just so they can replace them. But they're replacing them with a cheap imitation. I'm not really a fan of that. So that's really it for me. So guys, this is the part where I do more shout outs and I put comments from all of you guys that commented on the previous video. Like I said, if you want to see your comment put onto the next video, you know what to do. Comment on this video and you will be selected for the next. Like always, like, comment, very important, and subscribe. Thank you, and I will catch you next time at the next masquerade. Peace.